Today's lesson will be on analyzing rational graphs. We have previously looked at holes, at zeros, at asymptotes, both vertical and horizontal, and at the domain. And now we're going to look at our intervals of increase or decrease and our end behavior. So these are best seen on a graph. The key is to remember the notation for these. The intervals are only using x values, not y values, and this is where a lot of people mess up. They want to talk about the y values. It's going up from -2 to +4, and then it turns around and goes back down. But we're talking about the x values, over which x values is it increasing or decreasing. And then the end behavior looks at the ends. So some helpful hints. We want to first draw our asymptotes. The leftmost and the rightmost ends of the graph are going to approach your horizontal asymptote. If you guys remember that, you will always get those correct. Okay, the leftmost and the rightmost ends of the graph will always approach your horizontal asymptote. You do need to make sure that you check between holes and vertical asymptotes when you're determining those intervals of increase or decrease. Okay, so let's take a look at this one right here. So the first thing I want to do is find my asymptotes. So I can see that on the left side, this one is coming up, seems to be approaching y equals 0. On the right side, as it goes down, it also seems to be approaching y equals 0. So I'm going to put my horizontal asymptote right there. And then my vertical asymptote is going to go between these two. I can see that this seems to be approaching 2. The other side seems to be doing about the same, so I'm going to put my vertical asymptote at x equals 2. And then one thing worth noting, I have a hole at x equals 4. So when I am looking at my intervals of increase and decrease, what I'm going to do is take a look at, let's see, where is my, I feel like I have a pointer or something somewhere. This one, yeah. Okay, so what I tend to do is I tend to put my finger on the leftmost part and kind of trace it and see what happens. So I can see that this one is decreasing. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. This is decreasing. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'll start at the left and move along the line. I can see that I'm moving down again, so this one is also decreasing. So remember, with these intervals we're going our x values. So this lower part right here, oops, this first one right here, it's going to keep going forever and ever and ever to the left. So we're going to start this off at -infinity. Oops, wait, that was on increasing. We said it was decreasing. So -infinity. And it is going to decrease until we hit this vertical asymptote. Now our vertical asymptote, I didn't write it, but it's at x equals 2. So it's going to do that to 2. Then we're going to come up here, and it's going to go from 2 to this hole. So remember, it's not going to exist at the hole, so we're going to have to do an interval of decrease right here. So from 2 to the hole, which was at x equals 4. And then from the hole, it's going to continue on to the right forever and ever and ever, all the way to positive infinity. Now, if you don't want to write the positive sign, you don't have to. That's totally up to you. Now on this graph, we didn't increase at all. There's no other place for us to look. So my interval of increase would be none. For my end behavior, so you can see my notation down here as x approaches negative infinity, f of x approaches blank. So basically means as we move left, y approaches what? So as I move to the left, y is going to approach, and this is where we look back at up here, the leftmost and rightmost ends of the graph will approach your horizontal asymptote. So we can see that happening right here. It is approaching my horizontal asymptote, so it will approach 0. The same thing will be true on the right. So as x approaches in positive infinity, or as we move right, y goes to, and it's going to again go towards my horizontal asymptote. All right, let's try another one. So the first thing I want to do is draw my, and try to keep colors consistent, my asymptote. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my horizontal asymptote. It seems to be 1. I would probably actually assume, well, no, because it's not getting closer to 0. So we'll say 1. And then I'm going to have, were they green? Yep, vertical asymptotes. I've got here. And here. So this is a x equals -1, x equals +1. This is y equals 1. Now I don't have any holes, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so I'm going to start off at the left part of the graph and trace that line. As I move on the line, I am increasing. So I'm going to go ahead and write that one. So I am increasing from negative infinity to my vertical asymptote at -1. Okay, then I've got this right here. So I am increasing until right here. And then it's going to turn around and decrease. So I'm going to increase from my horizontal asymptote to x equals 0. And then I'm going to decrease from 0 to my next asymptote, which is 1. And then I'm going to look at my last line, and as I trace that, I am decreasing. So I just realized I didn't do increasing on this side, it's decreasing on this side, and then this one is decreasing. So we are decreasing from the vertical asymptote all the way to positive infinity. And then my end behavior, remember my left and right ends are going to approach my horizontal asymptote, which in this case is 1. So they will both approach the same thing. All right, last example. So horizontal asymptote. That's at y equals 0. Vertical asymptotes, I'm going to have 1 right here. At x equals -2. And 1 right here. At x equals +2. And then I can see I've got a hole at x equals negative 5. Right, so for intervals of increase and decrease, I'm going to start at the left, and I can see that I am decreasing this entire time. I'm going to decrease to the whole. So from negative infinity to my whole at negative 5, then from my whole at negative 5 to my vertical asymptote. Then I'm going to look at the next one, start here. As I trace it, it is going down the whole time, so decreasing the whole time. So that one's going to be negative 2 to positive 2. And then I'm going to start up here and trace, and again, I'm decreasing. So I'm going to decrease from 2 to positive infinity. Now, nowhere on here did I increase, so I'm going to write none for my interval of increase. And then my end behavior, where is my left end going? It's going towards the horizontal asymptote at 0. Where is my right end going? Again, towards the horizontal asymptote at 0.